as antivirus beeps and boops show up on the audio. I don't know if you can hear them or not. On the audio.
Forgot to turn it off.
Antivirus software? Why would I not?
No, the volume.
You're nuts. You gotta have the antivirus software going at all times.
Oh yeah, but you can.
Otherwise, you get a virus.
Hey, but you can shut the volume off the computer.
Listen. Enough. Good?
Fine.
Great.
All right.
Do you want to use this intro?
I think we should.
Fine. I'm not editing it because I still got music going in the background
There
too.
you go.
Okay, everybody, hello. Welcome to the Homewrecker Podcast. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion. I'm joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing trophy wife, Monique.
Hello.
So tell us about your thoughts on antivirus software. Go.
It's antivirus.
Right. How are you doing this week?
You realize the ridiculousness of that? I have nothing to say. You do all the computer stuff. You don't really let me do computer stuff.
What can
You handle the computer
Okay.
things. I use the computer, but you take care of all that stuff.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I try to be on top of these kind of things. But
So my thoughts on antivirus are
technology and things changes so rapidly now. Something I learned today is insignificant an hour from now, so it doesn't matter.
Possibly.
Yeah. Well, what's new with you? How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you. I'm
Great.
really excited. Last week we had our friend Karen Rontowski on our
That
show.
was a good time.
Yes, and she is such a sweetheart that she sent us presents.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she sent us each her reusable straws, and I'm holding it up if you're watching. And it's like this awesome little case with a keychain, and you pop it open. I was pulling the wrong way. And it has a reusable straw. That it's like all wound up, and then it just goes in there. So if you need a straw, you have one.
Especially now where some places have like, what are they, paper
Paper
straws? Or
straws, so
something?
you take a few sips, and then it like just
Yeah.
like gets all wet and
Gross.
sinks into
It
itself.
doesn't work.
The-
Yeah. No, when I saw this, I'm like, that is like, because she always talks about it on her show and stuff. And when I saw it, like, that is a really neat idea.
Right?
Like whoever.
It's very clever.
It's really, really great idea. So.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
very,
then
very
she sent us her Shungite stickers. These you put on the back of your cell phone, and it helps protect from the EMF, the radiation. So you stick it on, and
you don't even have to stick it on.
yeah, you can just put it like
you can
between
just put
the
it
case
in
and
between
the phone.
the case and the phone, and
Yeah.
it just does the exact same thing. Then you can have it for
Mhm.
as long as you need it.
And then you can tell everyone how much you love her podcast too.
Yeah.
So if you go to her website, KarenRontowski.com or ParanormalKaren.com, you can buy those items too.
Yes, you can.
Yes, support awesome people.
Cool. Why don't you explain what the significance of having a Shungite sticker is? What does it do?
So,
I'm just looking right now as the background is blowing like crazy.
yes, because it's hot. And
So
if
we-
we put our AC on.
We have a fan going, so anybody watching, if you notice that I can't even really tell if you can see it or not. You kind of, yeah, you can notice it, but anyway.
It's like a flag waving in the
It's
background.
really distracting me, so yeah, I'm really, anyway, back to
Focus.
Shungite. Go.
So, Shungite came from a meteorite in Russia. So some people might try to sell fake Shungite. It can only
What does
come
it
from
do?
Russia. I'm getting there. It has been tested. It can block radiation. So you have radiation from everyday things you use. You have your microwave, your radio, your TV, your Wi-Fi, your cell phone. All of those things emit a type of radiation through these little frequencies that we cannot see. And Shungite blocks it.
EMF.
Yes.
Electromagnetic
Yeah.
frequency.
It blocks the EMF. So it actually protects you. So you hear all the time, especially with your cell phone, people are getting cancer. A lot of women, when they like put it in their pocket, wherever they have it, they get cancer there. It even happens, they see like the hot spot when you hold the phone up to your ear for so long. So that helps protect you. So it's definitely worth it.
It's not, we're not saying it's going to completely protect you, but it helps to mitigate the effects of it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, when I go to sleep at night, I just put my phone in airplane mode, or I turn it off completely, and it's always at least 3 feet away from me. I don't sleep with it right next to my head or anything. So that's another thing people can do, because I think a lot of that stuff is when people go to bed, they're always so close to their phone.
Yeah.
So that's just a good habit, in my view, to get into. Just keep it at least 3 feet away from you if you don't want to shut it off or put it in airplane mode.
Especially a lot of people, if you only have a cell phone, and if somebody were to call you in the middle of the night for something, you want to get the call, but you can keep it further away.
Right. So yeah, that's the importance of the Shungite. I got this like cool Shungite bracelet that I wear, and I like it's just kind of cool. And I never thought I'd say, oh, I'm wearing a bracelet. But yeah, it's a neat little thing, and also for the same purpose, just to try to give you a little bit of shield from all this radiation that you're walking around in as my wife destroys the microphone.
I just bumped it with my chin. Well, because you told me to get close, and I did, and that's what happens.
Yeah, get a little bit closer.
Speaking of, I think we should start a new weekly segment. How did Monique hurt herself this week?
Yeah, well, why don't we do that? Go for it. Why don't you list all the ways this past couple of days that you've done that? Just go ahead, entertain everyone with that.
Well, one of my injuries, because there's kind of a list over the past week or two. You know, the spice bottles, the glass bottles, you get herbs and spices in, and it has that little plastic thing on the top with the hole so you can shake it out. Well, we had a bottle that was empty. We wanted to reuse it, so I was washing it, and I went to go take the plastic top piece off, and I was using my nail, and I accidentally, the plastic sliced between the side of my index fingernail and the skin, so it kind of slid between the nail and the skin, and it really hurt. So what I imagine bamboo shoots under your nail might feel like, just that separating and tearing between the two. It was very ouchy. And it bled. Yeah. I also jammed my toe really good. I thought I broke it. It was kind of your fault because I was paying attention to you.
It was my fault that you broke your jammed your toe?
Because I was leaving the kitchen, going to the living room, and I was looking at you.
Sorry, that was me testing my mic. For some reason, I couldn't hear myself.
Oh.
Weird. Okay, I'm not editing that.
Okay. So I was walking, and we have this bench that we use as a toy box, too. And I was looking at Alex because I was paying attention to what he said. I wasn't watching where I was going, and I walked really fast. So, boom, the edge of the toy box, my toe just, hit it, and it jammed my toe pretty good.
And that's my fault.
Well, I'm just saying because I was paying attention to you. I wasn't watching where I was going.
Right.
So it's my fault, but it's kind of your fault, too, because you're so interesting.
Was that it? Or, I mean, it was more than two.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
The only reason why I'm against this...
I burned myself again.
Yeah, this is why I'm against this, because now I feel like you're going to subconsciously start hurting yourself, so you have something to talk about.
It just happens all the time. I'm as graceful as a rhino. I trip over my own feet. Speaking of tripping, I want to bring up something that happened earlier today during my walk in the cemetery.
Please, go for it.
As our listeners know, what do we hate? When people bring their dogs in the cemetery, and especially when they're not on a leash.
Yeah, leash your pet. It's not hard to do.
I start walking, and there's a guy, and he has two dogs, a big black lab and a small, from where I was, it looked maybe like a small Bichon, a little white dog, or a Bichon mix, and they're off leash. They're over in a part that's kind of the field, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to sort of avoid him. So the path I take a left turn, and I noticed that he was walking that way too from where he was. So I'm like, okay, I see the dogs running towards me. Now, I love dogs, but it's the principle that this guy should not have his dogs off leash in a cemetery where it has signs everywhere, no dogs allowed. The big black lab runs up to me, starts running around me, and I'm like, hey buddy, trying to be nice. And the dog, his leg got kind of tangled up with mine as I was lifting my foot to take the next step, and he tripped me. And I didn't fall on my face. I caught myself. But the guy was saying something, but I was listening to a podcast, actually Paranormal Karen podcast, and I couldn't really hear him, but I just shot him the dirtiest look. I smiled at the dog, because it's not the dog's fault. And I felt really bad, because not that I gave him a dirty look, but I felt like I should have pet the dog and let him know, like, you're a good dog. But I didn't. So I didn't want the dog to pick up on that negative energy. I wanted it to go all to his owner.
Okay. That's great.
I just look at it like, what if I'm deathly afraid of dogs? What if I've been attacked by dogs before? What if, I did trip and fall and got hurt because his dog ran in front of me while I was walking? All things can happen. Put your dog on a leash, and if it's a sign that says no dogs allowed, don't bring your dog. I love dogs, but you have to be a responsible pet owner. And that's my PSA for the day.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, the whole time you were talking, this is crazy. I'm going to apologize because all I'm hearing now is static. I don't know if that's picking up on the recording or not. Yeah, my mic is just kind of cutting in and out, so I apologize. I was messing with my volume a little bit to try to hear it. Now it's sounding really loud. So
is it good now?
It's good now.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just strange before when I was talking to you. It just kind of went out.
Well, I saw that you were playing with it. I thought, I'll just keep talking while you figure that out.
Oh, is that it? You were purposely talking?
No, I just figured I'm going to keep going. It's a long enough story where you should be able to figure it out or not.
Yeah, no, that was well done.
See, teamwork.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Check you out.
I know you like to check me out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank goodness.
Yes. So recently, we've been watching a lot of TV lately. Anybody that's listened to us for a long time knows I'm not a big TV guy. We got rid of cable a while back. But for some reason lately, I don't know what it is, but in the evening, I just like to kind of sit from like 5 on because I stand most of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I have to just...
You literally stand like all day.
Yes. And so I've just been really, really exhausted lately. I don't know if it's the weather or what. Who knows? And so we've just been watching a lot of TV, movies, and shows that we have and stuff like that. Not actual broadcast television.
Yeah, we don't have cable.
None of that nonsense. So we watched, and we got the WWE Network again after not having it for a while. Mm-hmm. Probably going to cancel it now again because I don't really know.
Well, we got it for WrestleMania.
What else is worth watching? Yeah, we got it for WrestleMania and then hung on to it because they had that Undertaker show.
Yes, the last ride.
Yes, and so that seemed really interesting. There was another documentary we watched with Edge. I can't remember what it was called. It was like his kind of like road back to wrestling after being off for 9 years. And so, damn WWE's kept us in this because it's like a 5-part documentary, right? Mm-hmm. And the first part comes out. I think was it the night after WrestleMania or the night of WrestleMania? I can't. It was like right around WrestleMania. I think was part 1 of it.
Because it was a Sunday, so I think it was after WrestleMania.
Or no, I'm sorry. It wasn't even after.
Was it Money in the Bank?
It may have been because they did like a teaser, like a 10-minute teaser of the first episode, and so and then they're like coming whatever day it was. So yes, it was a couple weeks after WrestleMania. So I was like, oh, that looks awesome. We got to watch that. Damn it, because we got to keep this stupid network for another month. And then they dragged it out. Instead of having it be 5 weeks in a row, they made us wait, another 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks. So it was you had to wait 2 weeks and then get the last 2 episodes. Like, it's every week. So.
Yeah, so they staggered the release. Those jerks. Those ingenious...
So clever on their part, but so annoying on ours.
Jerks that made us wait. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kept us sucked into the WWE Network for another month. But in that time, so we started watching those documentaries. Really, really good show. We'll talk a little bit about it. And we've been watching a lot of movies, too.
Yeah.
Just different movies. Nothing really new, just because nothing new that's come out in my view is any of any substance or any good. Anything like after 2015, I feel like is just junk.
What was the movie that we tried to watch? Do you remember the name of it? We were like, oh, this doesn't look very good.
I can't remember it, and it would have been a perfect thing to probably do a show on. We probably could have.
That was our goal. We're gonna watch
all over this movie for the entire hour-long podcast, but we couldn't even get through. What would we get? 12 minutes in.
Was it that? It was so bad.
It wasn't for very long.
It was about Bigfoot.
Well, we think. We didn't.
We
didn't get through the first.
It's supposed to be about Bigfoot, but it's like the opening scene. I'm watching it, thinking, okay, so I want all these people to die. Nobody's likable.
Yeah, and they were just really. I don't know what it was.
It really just.
It was one of those like found footage movies.
Yeah.
So it's like one of the people's filming everything on a camcorder or whatever it was. So it was one of those type of deals, and I don't mind those as much as you do. I'm not like a huge fan of them, but I don't mind them. Like I know you hate them. You can't stand them.
It's not that I hate them.
You hate them.
Just I like the Blair Witch Project. It worked, Paranormal Activity, but there's some, if the camera's too shaky.
Yeah, you don't like that. And that's fine, I get it. I understand. So, you're not a fan of them. I don't mind them, but I'm not a huge fan. I'm not like a big supporter of them or anything. So, it wasn't like the camera work. I'm not going to say that that's what annoyed me.
No.
It was just something about it. I don't know if it was the way they were talking. The characters were not likable in the least bit. Like, at least in most movies, you have your unlikable characters, especially horror movies, where you're rooting for them to die. That's like kind of the whole point of the movie.
But there's at least one person.
There's at least one person that's likable,
yes.
or at least has some redeeming qualities. None.
I'm just like, these all seem like horrible human beings.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And they're stupid.
Yes.
And I know they're younger, but no common sense.
So, yeah, I had no vested interest in not even watching them die. Didn't even want to see that.
It got
and
so bad.
That sounds so weird to say, too.
I was like, I'm like, I don't want to watch this. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't put myself through this.
Yeah, it was just not a good film. Not a good movie.
I wish you could remember the name of it.
Yeah. It was like,
it's bad for me to not watch it, because even if something's really bad, I still want to know what happens. So I will watch something.
Yeah.
Most bad movies, it can be horrible, and I still want to know what happens. This, I was like, I don't care. It's so bad. I hate these characters that there's no interest whatsoever.
Yeah, it was just, there was nothing, no redeeming qualities, like I said. And if somebody really wanted to be a jerk, they could take everything we just said about that out of context and be like, oh, they didn't want to see people die, or they wanted to see people die, or whatever. That's like the formula for most horror movies. You have the people go to the movies because they want to see the Freddy or Jason, whoever the main villain is, Michael Myers, insert whoever here.
Take off the more unlikable characters.
Yeah, that's like the kind of the whole thing. And then obviously at the end, the bad guy gets theirs because there's at least one or two characters that team up or whatever, and they overcome the evil. I mean, it's storytelling 101.
But the whole
this had none of that.
No, and then
there was nothing there.
The way they're building it with this Bigfoot, what's I think supposed to be Bigfoot, is like you just feel really bad for it, and you're just like, the poor thing, and it was just really weird.
I didn't feel that.
I did.
That's not what I felt. How could you feel anything? You saw it for like 0.2 seconds.
Because the sound they made, like it was crying.
Oh, okay.
Just thinking if that's what it is, like they clip Bigfoot with their car and the thing's like howling in pain, crying.
We've already spent like almost 10 minutes talking about this movie that we only watched for maybe 10 minutes and then shut off.
All right, moving on.
We could, I guess, talk an hour about the first 10 minutes of this movie and why it was so bad. Actually, I'm just going to let you go.
I almost spit out my iced coffee.
The old spit take.
At least it didn't come out my nose.
That's when you know you said or done something funny, where you can actually get somebody to spit out something they were drinking.
When I think I was 12 or 13, I was at our family friend. They were a married couple, and they were having like, I think it was like their 30 or 40 year wedding anniversary.
Okay.
And so we're there, and it was at some function hall. There's a bunch of people there. And I was talking to my friend Spike. And I don't even remember what he said, but it was so funny. I had just taken a sip of Coca-Cola, and he made me laugh, and I shot it out my nose, and it was so carbonated. It burned so bad.
Yikes. Yeah, I know that that's happened to me at some point. I can't remember the exact reason or whatever, but I know that's happened to me. That it doesn't feel good.
Having something shoot at your nose doesn't feel good, but
When
having it be carbonated,
no,
not
when I
good.
was a kid, I can't remember what the situation was, but I remember laughing so hard after drinking some milk, and milk started going out of my nose, and that wasn't comfortable either. But it was kind of funny watching it flying out of my nose. Thinking back on it now, good times.
Yeah, memories.
Fun stuff.
Again, graceful as a rhino.
Yeah. This is bothering me now. I can't remember the name of this damn movie we were talking about.
Was it like Exists?
Maybe.
Exists?
Maybe, and if not, apologies to that movie because we don't want to mix up the two.
I don't have my phone near me anywhere either,
yeah,
so.
You're fine. Anyway, yeah, so we've been watching a lot of stuff, a lot of movies and what have you. So, what did we see? I just talked to you about it last night with the mattress and the glass of wine.
Oh, the Yes Man.
Man with Jim Carrey. Yeah, I thought that was kind of a really cool movie.
That was a fun movie.
I thought that I had seen it before, but watching it, I'm like, I don't remember any of this. Maybe I never saw this. Maybe
I saw like a little part of it.
Maybe I saw part of it or something if it was on, cable years ago or something. But I watched the whole thing. I'm like, I don't remember any of this. But I thought it was kind of a neat concept.
Yeah, not being so closed off to trying new things.
Yeah, and I thought it illustrated really well some of the things that can happen if you say yes to something that you typically would say no to, or find yourself saying no to. I thought it was kind of cool how they just showed possibilities. And I didn't realize it, but I'm reading the IMDb trivia after, and it's based on like a true story. Like there was, like whoever wrote the movie actually did that for a year, and like wrote a book about it and everything. I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. Like, read the book and kind of see what this person supposedly went through. Kind of a neat thing though.
Yeah.
What a cool concept. And I mean, there's some funny stuff. It's Jim Carrey, so of course he brings his over-the-top personality to the role and everything. But yeah, that was really well done. Just kind of cool. Like, it had a good message.
It did. It was funny because part of the point was you have to say yes to everything. And if somebody asks you something, you have to say yes. And part of it is the universe will reward you if you do. But if you say no, the universe will punish you. So it was kind of neat, but it also gets to the point of, like, good points being brought up. So, hey, give me all the money in your wallet. Sure, here you go. So people could totally be taken advantage of. So it's good theory. Obviously, don't literally say yes to everything. But yeah, I think...
Be open to saying yes more than saying no, I guess. But it's funny if you... Like, I read a lot of self-help stuff and listen to a lot of different podcasts, like, about business and things like that. So you have a lot of entrepreneurs, people talking about getting your mindset right for that kind of thing. And there's a lot of people who say you have to say no more, be comfortable with saying no. So it's weird how you get all these contradicting ideologies all the time.
I think part of that is when you say yes to everyone, you spread yourself too thin. So as long, and like people take advantage of you. Oh yeah. This person will help everyone move. This person always gives people money if they need it, even though they don't have it. It's like, I'll start for a week if it means, feeding everyone else for a day. And it's about finding that balance, I think, because there are times you need to say no and stand up for yourself.
Well, that was at the end of the movie.
Yeah. But be more open to life. And if somebody invites you out, take a chance and go out and have fun.
Right.
And try more things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I like that. I thought it was really cool when we started doing all the Marvel movies and what have you. So we're trying to do all those in order of not the release date, but I guess how chronologically they're supposed to take place
in the Marvel universe.
In the Marvel, what is it? In Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. Jeez. Yeah, so we're trying to watch them in that order, and it's pretty interesting. And we've got our 3-year-old like sitting through most of these movies.
Oh my gosh,
amazing.
He loves Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
And it's the cutest thing. So he doesn't really talk much, and he started saying Iron Man, but he doesn't say Iron Man. He goes Iron Man, and he has like his little Iron Man toy, and he holds the toy and points at the TV, and he goes Iron Man, Iron Man. It's the cutest thing.
That's awesome.
And it's like, doesn't really say much else, but he says that, and it's adorable.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing lately. And anyway, back to the Undertaker.
Yes, back to the Undertaker.
Because that was kind of so. What were your first initial impressions when you watched? I'm not going to go through like chronologically or anything, but what were some of your first thoughts after seeing like the first episode, for example?
I just thought back to our Wrestlemania conversation where we talked before the Wrestlemania. We talked about favorite matches, and I brought up the Undertaker. I had mentioned how his performance started going downhill towards the end of his career. And then it made me realize I kind of feel like a dick for saying that, because you see all the crap that he was going through, all the injuries and everything. And I was like, oh, now I feel really bad. Was I wrong performance-wise? No, because those things were brought to light. Some of it had nothing to do with him. It's just stuff that happened. But it just kind of brings those matches down. So I did kind of feel like a bit of a jerk.
Okay, I don't have any feelings of ill will towards myself.
No, what I mean is, because I brought up how poor the performances were,
okay.
and then you kind of understood why.
But now you know all of the details, but why would you? Don't feel bad about it.
I just wondered, was I too harsh? I don't think I was, but...
No, if you're anybody, and I'm speaking as somebody that used to do it, if you're putting yourself out there to wrestle, to perform in front of a crowd, you have to be okay with the fact that sometimes you're not going to have a good night, and you're not going to get everybody to like you universally. Nobody is universally liked. So you have to be ready to take any criticism.
I thought the Undertaker was universally liked.
No, I'm not sure.
No? Oh, okay.
No. I'll be honest with you, I was never the biggest Undertaker character
did you like
fan.
him?
I liked him as a person. The very few interactions I ever had with him.
But watching wrestling, you're like, oh, I don't care for him. Yeah, I like him.
I never really cared for him. I thought his character was cool when it first debuted back in 1992, I think it was, or 91. 91, I think. I thought it was a cool character, but it got kind of old for me quick. That's all. But obviously the guy's awesome. But everybody has people that they enjoy watching, people they don't really enjoy watching that much. I didn't really gain an appreciation for him until probably maybe 2008. I think he had a match with, was it Batista? He had a match with either Batista or Edge at WrestleMania, and I was like, wow, that was really good. And then it was the following year that he had the matches with Shawn Michaels. But I wasn't really a huge Undertaker fan. I just never was. But watching the documentary, he's a cool dude. Obviously you can tell he's a cool person. He's a down-to-earth guy who really respected and loved the professional wrestling business, that he literally gave his body and put his body through hell just to stay out there and perform for fans.
Mm-hmm.
So even for somebody like me who didn't really appreciate, he was still putting himself out there. So that's...
Was there anything really surprising you thought you saw in that documentary?
Yeah, the documentary itself. Surprised that he did that. Because he's been the one guy who protected his character and protected his business consistently ever since he started. Ever since he became that character and that persona. He's the guy that's consistently protected it. You never saw him at Hall of Fame ceremonies. You never saw him really out of character at all. You just didn't. And I think that's why obviously that's why he maintained that mystique and had that aura about him. So when he first came on social media, I think was it 2 or 3 years ago, he started an Instagram and a Twitter account.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah, it was maybe 2 years ago.
I suck at finding people on social media.
I was like, oh man, he's got social media now. Forget it. It's all done. That's it. Because he was the last guy that didn't really have anything and you never really heard him talk or comment on stuff. He was just the character. And I think that's why it was so what it was, so special, especially the aura around him and seeing him at WrestleMania every year, even after he lost and the streak and everything got broken. It was like the Undertaker was like the main attraction of WrestleMania.
Yeah. When you were talking about his Instagram, all I was thinking of is how great would it be if he got an Instagram and it was just pictures of different caskets.
Sure.
Because he's the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I would find the humor in it.
Yes, yeah, that's funny stuff. But yeah, that was my initial impression. Was I can't believe he actually, and according to the documentary, it was his idea to do this whole thing because he thought that he was going into his final wrestling match, WrestleMania appearance, when he wrestled Roman Reigns at whatever number WrestleMania that was a few years ago. I'm sorry, I don't even know what number they're on now. So that's why he was like, I guess I'll document the last couple of days of my career. And then he ends up not having a match that he was proud of. That had a couple of spots in there that were a little bit messed up, which come to find out is because
he was hurt, right?
He needed a hip replacement.
Yeah.
So the dude was walking around. I remember that match because he took off all his stuff after. He put on his hat, his gloves, his coat, and everything, left them all in the ring. Kind of like symbolically saying, this is it. And I guess like the next day he went and had like a hip replacement surgery.
And I remember there were a couple of things they'd show him walking to the ring, not while the match is happening, but like beforehand. And you see how he's limping. And you just think, wow, like he's got to be in so much pain.
He was walking like that back in 2000, in 2001. So I can just imagine.
And then going out wrestling like that.
Yep. You never saw the guy was hurt. He never let on. You remember when he got burned alive? Where he's like walking to the ring and his power went off and
he got burned, 2nd-degree burns all over his chest.
All over his chest and arms and everything.
And he broke his foot. It was the
Hell in the Cell match?
Yes, with McCool.
He went in with a broken foot. His foot was broken.
Okay.
And then he like crawled and like dropped into the ring from the top of the cage.
But yeah, had broken foot. He's tough.
You see him like wince for like literally like a split second if you're looking for it when it happens. And on the second night, you'd never know that he had a broken foot. Yeah, guy's tough as nails.
It's like I strive to be that tough.
A man's man.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, I was really surprised that he had this thing happen. But then he has that his quote unquote final match, and then sees his match with Roman Reigns several months later after going through rehab for his hip replacement, all that stuff, and he sees like all the mistimed spots and a couple of botched spots and the moves and what have you. I'm trying to speak in terms that maybe the non-wrestling fan would understand. Excuse me. And he realizes that match I don't want to go out with that being my last match. So then the wheels start turning, and he wants to come back and he wants to have another match.
But he got in really good shape. He worked on getting in better shape too. And you see, because the cameras have been following him around, you see everything he's doing to get in good shape. I mean, because I remember watching, he came back when we were both like, wow, he lost weight. He looks good.
Well, I mean, come to find out, and these are the things that a lot of people, nobody thinks about. But again, when you're in the public eye, nobody thinks about the stuff that's happening when you're not in front of a camera or in front of an audience or whatever. We didn't know the guy was walking around with a bum hip and like a bum knee, and you don't know. I mean, you have a sense and an idea that this guy's probably hurt because he's old or whatever, but you don't really think about that. You just see what's in front of you and what's presented to you. You don't really think about the background story to any of it. So when he showed up, he was in really good shape. It's like, holy crap, he busted his ass. Shape. And apparently he'd been consistently working out all along, but you obviously, if you're in so much pain with a hip that needs replacing,
if you're in so much pain with any kind of injury,
anything,
makes working out very difficult.
Oh yeah, tough, laborious, of course. Mm-hmm. So, I thought that was really, really interesting that he allowed this to happen, but he thought it was all done, and then he sees that his quote unquote last match, and he's not happy. Mm-hmm. So he now is not content with being retired, calling it quits, and he wants to come back for another match.
And it's almost like this big kind of, okay, now this is my last match, or this might be my last match. It's like you just never know. And one of the things he said was like, Vince, I'm not around, but if you need me, I'll be there for you. And you see the relationship between The Undertaker and Vince McMahon. And I can't help but wonder, like, did you feel like Vince McMahon absolutely took advantage of that, knowing, like, well, if I need somebody, I can use him? Or do you think it was that I'm really in a stuck spot and this is the only guy who can do the job when you call him?
I think that Vince McMahon is the smartest businessman in pro wrestling. He understands how to do business, and he's going to use whatever tools he has at his disposal. And The Undertaker said, I'm done, but if you need me, when you leave that kind of an opening, instead of just being like, nope, done, I am done, like Shawn Michaels did for so many years, when you leave that door open, of course he's going to take advantage. He's a smart businessman. He knows people will pay to see The Undertaker. He knows The Undertaker's like the only attraction he has left, really. So, of course he's going to take advantage of it. But I don't think that that's a bad thing. That's Vince being smart. And Vince being Vince.
I think it's very smart. But what I was saying is just like on a human level.
Not at all. But I mean, again, that's just because I'm not looking at it from a human level. I'm looking at it from a business level because we're talking about business. We're not talking about life and death situations. I mean, they could end up being that. Accidents happen and what have you, but it's a business situation. We're talking about the professional wrestling business, and yeah, there's a human element to it, obviously, but it's the decision to use somebody that is saying, hey, I'm done. I don't want to be doing this anymore. But if you need me,
and that
to me is saying I'm not really done.
And that's kind of what I wanted to say is if you're done and you say, but if you really need me, you're either doing it because you're a super people pleaser, and even though you don't want to do it anymore, you look at it like, but I'll do it because I really care about you and I want to help you out. I want to be a good person and help you. Or two, you say, I'm done, but if you need me, really bad, if you're stuck, you're saying that because, yeah, what you just said, you're not really done. Like, you're done, but
you're not shutting that door.
Exactly.
You're not closing that door.
Exactly. Like, I would say because I was a people pleaser. But I think he said it because the door wasn't quite ready. Leave it just to crack.
Yeah, and I think he mentioned that too. But yeah, that's the thing. He didn't want to shut that door, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But and again, I mean, we don't know. We saw what was presented to us in clips and stuff like that. We didn't see like the entire conversations. We obviously didn't hear phone conversations between the two or anything like that.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's said behind closed doors. We just know what we see, what's presented to us.
I did like seeing that side. I don't know why. I like when I see Vince McMahon smile, and not like the regular oh, I just got some money kind of smile, but that truly you can tell he's happy smile.
Yeah.
I love seeing when he smiles like that. I think I just love when anyone genuinely smiles.
Yes, yeah. I'm with you there.
But I feel like you don't see that a lot, that kind of smile from him a lot.
Because he gets a bad rap, especially nowadays. I hear see a lot of people just crapping all over Vince and WWE for a million different reasons. I'm not going to get into them all. But you could tell, like you said, when you see those genuine moments, you could tell. The guy's got cameras around all the time, as you see by this documentary. There's cameras backstage filming stuff all the time. That was a genuine thing. You could tell those guys really, really
he's
really, they're close. There's a brotherhood there. There's a bond. And you could tell he was really appreciative and concerned for the guy's well-being. What WrestleMania was it? The one where he lost the streak to Brock Lesnar, where he got the really bad concussion.
Yeah.
Vince left after Undertaker's match because Undertaker had to go to the hospital. Vince went to the hospital with him in the middle of WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year. He left and went with him. I never knew that story. I didn't know that till the documentary. I was like,
And
wow.
it's funny because part of me is like, if Vince really cared, he'd go with him. And then I was like, he did. Oh, good, because that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think Vince.
And I know he can't do that for everybody, but if you truly have that strong bond and relationship,
you can't. Well, that's the thing that kind of sucks too. Is you see everybody nowadays paints everything with a broad brush. Nobody breaks stuff down to minutia and just looks at individual cases and circumstances. Everything's painted with a broad brush. So you hear, oh, Vince is a jerk, and Vince is this and that. But then you also hear the other extreme of that, and I'm sure that if you went and asked enough people about us, we might get some people that don't think too highly of us. Yeah. And you might get other people that think, wow,
and maybe they have good reason, too, you know?
Right. You're
some
never
people
going to
just rub
please
each other
everybody.
the wrong way. Yeah, but I like seeing those moments where, like, you see happiness and you see, like, especially with Vince McMahon because he does get such a bad rap. It's like, I love finding the good in people. And when you hear those things and you see that, it's like, there is good. It's there. It's just not always easy to find.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think Vince took advantage of him. I think he did whatever Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, was comfortable with. Because Vince can ask him to come back and do a match, and he doesn't have to say yes.
True.
So that's another part of it. Vince can go, oh, I've got Undertaker in my back, well, I'm going to use him. The Undertaker doesn't have to say yes.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
So he's to the point now in his career where if he said no, what's Vince going to say? Well, you have to.
Yeah.
You know, the guy's he's been around long enough. He's had enough injuries and everything else that he could say, no, I'm all done.
It still blew me away, like what you said with all of his injuries.
Yeah.
Watching him work out, seeing what he was doing, it was awesome because he's getting older. He's what, in his 50s?
Yeah, I think he's in his mid-50s.
Yeah, and he's had a tough life when you think of all the injuries he's had, how much he worked. It's very physical. And the fact he could do everything he was doing, it's like, wow, I was really impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. The human body's an amazing thing. We don't give enough credit to ourselves as human beings for what we can endure, what we can put our bodies through. Mm-hmm. We don't. We're capable of amazing things. We've just been so coddled and so domesticated now that we all, the slightest thing, I gotta go to the ER. But seriously though. So yeah, seeing him work out, yeah, awesome. I don't feel bad for him in the sense that just because he's got injuries, that's the life he chose.
Yeah.
I don't ask for any sympathy from anybody with any issues that I'm going through. It's the life I chose. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was getting into. I was told when I was 19 years old in the back of a car driving to my first wrestling show, I was told, get ready, this is a life of pain that you're starting. You sure you want to do this? And I remember I had a really sore knee, and my knee was killing me. This is at 19, and I remember just being cramped in the back of a car, and all I wanted to do was straighten my leg, and I couldn't. And I just remember sitting there being like, and then the person that was in the car would be saying that to me, and I said, yeah, okay. So you know what you're signing up for when you get into pro, or at least you should know what you're signing up for when you're getting into pro wrestling. You're not going to feel good. It is what it is. But yeah, seeing him doing his workouts and stuff, like, wow, yeah, he's still kicking ass.
And it's motivating.
Yeah, it is. It's encouraging to see that just because he wasn't on TV every week or whatever, that he was motivated enough to maintain just for his own health.
Yeah.
And not just get, rest on his laurels and get lazy. It's kind of, it's encouraging to see.
Absolutely. Now, do you think with the way it ended, did you think like, okay, so he's done or he's not done? Like, what impression did you get?
He's not done. He's not done. He'll be back. And I think if there was any time for him to be done, it would be now, especially with all the situation with whatever nonsense is going on in the world, and you can't hold live events and things like that. If I'm him, I say, why would I come back to? I mean, that's the biggest part of a live show. It's the audience. That's what the performers feed off of. The audience feeds off itself. The energy. That's why people go to live events and things like that. At least that was for me. You go to be part of a crowd and an experience. Why would you go and put yourself through the hell this guy puts himself through for no audience reaction, not getting that
his
interaction?
match, WrestleMania match with AJ Styles, though, that was awesome. And if he did more things like that, I would be interested.
I'd be interested in seeing it, but he said it himself on the documentary. You would think that this would be easy, but he was up. They shot that match. It was like a 20-minute match. They were shooting it all night because it was like a cinematic style.
Not to mention the call he got. Was it like the night before?
Yeah, but I mean, leaving that aside, just the fact that he gets warmed up, they go through, they start doing stuff, and then they got to stop, reset stuff up. He's standing around, he's cooling off, he's getting cold. That is hell.
Well, absolutely.
That is hell. You get all warmed up, then you cool down, then you expect to get right up again.
Remember when his arm went through the glass? And I was like, is that a piece of glass stuck in his arm? And then, of course, it, like, not thinking, because you get so into it, like, oh yeah, they're taking bits, because I was watching his arm, like, oh, it doesn't look as bad now. It's like, yeah, it was a piece of glass, like, stuck in his arm. They were pulling it out.
Yeah, that was legit glass. I thought it was, it's cool, they're doing blood. It was a legit thing. I thought, when we first saw the match, I thought they were doing fake blood and stuff too. Okay, that's cool.
Well, usually because they have a special glass that just breaks easily.
Yeah. Well, that was actually real. He really did cut himself, according to the documentary. Maybe they're working us. Maybe the documentary. Who knows?
Wouldn't be surprised. But I just thought it was funny because here I am thinking like, okay, well, what's happening? Not realizing they're like doing in between takes.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a compliment that I was having that much fun with that match.
Yeah, it was well done. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but for what it was, for the circumstances and the situation they were put into, I thought it was well done. It was entertaining for me anyway. Like I said, not everybody's cup of tea, but I thought it was good. But yeah, no, if you listen to him talk about that whole thing, I don't think that would be a better experience for him to do that.
I'm not saying a better experience for him. I'm just saying for the people watching.
Like, oh, I don't care about Undertaker.
I'm not saying I don't care. I was just saying it was cool to watch.
It was definitely well done. It was very entertaining. I agree with you. But yes, as you were starting to say, he got a phone call right before they started filming that match, was it?
Was it the day before?
It was I think they were driving to film it or something like that.
Something like that.
And he got a call from his niece that her father, his brother, had a heart attack and had passed away. So that was pretty sad.
I can't even imagine. Because I would be like, I need to go. I need to be with my family. The fact that he stayed and did all of that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, could if he wanted to reschedule it, I'm sure they definitely could have, yes. But you're there. You're not close by. This just happened. You're going to have time to go and be there for services and see family and things like that.
I get that, but I think most people would have been like, sorry everyone, I need to go. And it says so much about him that with everything, like looking at all the little parts of it.
Yep.
Could he stay? Yes. And he went and he filmed that and spent all those hours doing that. And like you said, it was exhausting. You know, you warm up, then you cool down, and you're waiting, and maybe it kept his mind occupied, but yeah, it just says so much about his character.
Well, yes, and I mean, anybody really from that generation of pro wrestling, that's a generation that's gone now. That was what you did. Didn't matter what happened. The road was your life. You were on the road. That was it. And it would have to be something really drastic or severe to pull you off the road. Not only is he on the road, theoretically, you know, using that mentality, but he's doing the biggest match of the
It's
year.
WrestleMania.
It's WrestleMania. So using that old school mentality, I would think that's probably what his mindset. Again, I'm not him. He didn't say, but I'm guessing that's the mindset that he had. I mean, I don't know how many birthdays and things I missed when I was wrestling. I was just doing it on the weekends for the most part for the longest time. But I would still make that my priority because that's what I wanted to do. And I knew you had to make sacrifices to get to a certain level. And then when you got to that next level, you were going to have to make even more sacrifices. That was the life. That's what I chose and what I wanted to do. I was comfortable with those sacrifices.
Until you met me.
Yeah. You're so proud of yourself. But that's not wrestling now. Now wrestling is completely different. It's completely changed, and nobody cares about anything other than themselves.
When you said missing birthdays,
Yeah.
one of the things I had brought up to you that popped in my head was Undertaker's family, Mark Calloway's family.
Yep.
You see his wife Michelle McCool, who was a professional wrestler in the WWE as well, and their daughter. But he has other children from previous marriage, so none of that was brought up. And I kind of felt like, I don't know, maybe because they didn't want to be a part of it. Nobody knows, but I thought it would have been nice just to see that dynamic of not just, when he says his family, his current wife and that one child, but like all of his children.
Well, I think the reason he's saying that they're talking about the current child, and I don't know for sure, don't quote me, I don't know for sure, but I presume his other children are all grown up now. So, what are you going to film with them? They don't live with him. I don't know his previous relationships.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
I know he has other kids.
You don't know the relationship.
He's
It'd be
been a
cool
very
to
private
see if,
guy.
to see that too, like with the other kids. That was all. Like, oh, I thought he had other kids, so none of that's mentioned.
Grown up, so what's the point?
Are all of them grown up?
I would assume that none of them live with him. So I think they were at least. I think, like I said, I don't know the man's personal. He was very private all these years. He protected his gimmick, his character, and everything. So I don't know.
I'm curious. Like, was it like they wanted to be private? He wanted to keep them private. It's just because these were the things I was thinking of.
I'm sure he wanted to keep it private because who wants to hear about the Undertaker and his wife and kids? Back then, anyway. Especially back then when wrestling was at least a little bit more protected.
I'm just saying, if you're doing a documentary.
Can you get every single aspect of everybody's life into a documentary? I'm sure there's a lot of things they wanted to talk about. They can't put everything into the documentary. They got to cut some stuff out.
Wow.
And
I was trying to say,
again, what are you gonna get out of seeing his grown children interact with him? Sharing a beer together with his son if he has one. Like, I don't know what you're looking for.
Okay, I'll just never mind.
I'm just saying, what are you going to
just
get?
Because I know he has other kids.
Okay.
So I didn't know if they were going to be a part of it at all. And then I wonder, is it because they didn't want to do it, he didn't want them doing it, or it was because WWE thought, oh, both of our wrestlers are married and they made a kid, let's just focus on that. I was just wondering.
Okay.
You know how my mind goes 80 billion different places.
All right. I don't have the answer for you.
I don't know you don't have the answer. I was
but
just sharing with our listeners, these are the things I thought of, and I had brought it up to you.
He was yelling at me.
Because you don't listen.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. So, yeah. What for you, what was the, I don't want to say most surprising thing, but was there anything that maybe shocked you? Or that you were like, really like, whoa, like, kind of took you, so I guess surprising is probably the best way to describe it. Was there anything that really surprised you?
Not so much. I think understanding how injured he was, not knowing that, like they're injured, but not knowing the extent of it, that every year after WrestleMania he goes and has a surgery for something. That sucks to have to do that. Obviously he chose that life, but it's like, wow, he has a WrestleMania match, gets surgery, takes like a vacation or something, and then he's back at it, getting ready for the next WrestleMania.
Yeah. pretty crazy.
It is. I was going to say it's crazy. So there was that. Nothing else really shocked me, but it was very interesting because, like I've said, I've always been an Undertaker fan. And to get to see that different part of his life was really neat. Just getting some insight towards things.
Yeah, definitely. It was very, very interesting. It was very, very eye-opening in a lot of respects, I guess. And just, again, you get that other aspect of not just injuries, but also like psychological, emotional stuff that people are dealing with too, that most people don't take into consideration when they're passing judgment or making an observation or decision. You don't really think about, well, what's going on in this person's life other than wrestling. So I thought it was very well done, and I thought he came across really well. And like I said, I had a couple interactions with him many, many years ago, and he was always cool, always just like a nice, down-to-earth guy. It's like everything that you heard people say about him in the documentary, that was what he was. And that was like in his, I guess, prime peak heyday back in like the early 2000s. Anytime I had any interactions with him, and nicest guy.
He just seems like a nice person.
Yeah, he was really cool. I was a WWE extra on SmackDown when they were doing the build up to WrestleMania 17, and it was The Undertaker against Triple H. Was the big match for those two guys that year, and I was used as I played a police officer. It was weird. It was like a convoluted storyline where I was a police officer, but I wasn't really a police officer. I was Triple H's friend who dressed up as a police officer to arrest The Undertaker and get him handcuffed so Triple H could beat up his brother Kane in the ring in front of him and then hit him in the head with a sledgehammer. That was like this whole thing. They filmed a bunch of the stuff, but they call them pre-tapes, a bunch of little backstage kind of vignettes and whatever, explaining all this stuff. And myself and the other three guys that were the extras, we all had to arrest The Undertaker in backstage. And it was just funny, and of course, this is being taped. It was a Tuesday night, but it was for a show that was airing on that coming Thursday. So we're in the back, and they're filming live because there's a crowd, obviously. And they're airing things on the big screen to the crowd. They're showing them what the TV viewer would be seeing if they're watching at home. And so that they can react and know what's going on. And so we're in the back, and there's a match going on with Triple H and Kane in the ring. And the Undertaker's in the back, handcuffed, arrested, with all of us watching him, us police officers, my fingers in quotes. And he in between cutting to us, he would just kind of make little one-off jokes and stuff, just to make us feel welcome at home, because we're all just like, it's The Undertaker. What are you going to say? And plus, you're obviously in the middle of doing business, shooting something. But obviously, when it would cut back to the ring, and the TV viewer would be watching what's going on in the ring, and the camera's not on us, he'd be making jokes and stuff like that. Just really laid-back, funny guy. We're all just like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of cool. He's disarming us a little bit, kind of get us to not be so tense, which is, needed. And then when we get out, there's a part where he gets up because he's so mad at what's going on in the ring, and he's, even with his hands cuffed, walks over and just like beats all of us up and leaves and runs to the ring, handcuffed, gets in the ring to try to stop Triple H from beating up his brother. And we all hit the ring again, and we all tackle him and get him down. And I'm the guy who's in the corner, and I've got him kind of like in a headlock, sitting on the bottom rope. And we're just like kind of sitting there. And we just start having a conversation, like, so, how's it going? He's like, hey man, I'm alright, how are you? I'm like, I'm doing good. This is pretty cool. He goes, yeah, it is pretty cool. You get used to it, but it's awesome. And I'm just like, yeah. He goes, alright, you're going to let me up in a bit, right? Like, yep. He goes, okay. Keep an eye on Triple H. He's gonna give you the Iggy. I'm like, okay, the Iggy's like the signal for what's coming next. Like, all right, cool. And then that was it. He gets up. He gets hit in the head with a sledgehammer. He's bleeding all over the place, and whatever else happens, and then when we get to the back, he had to get stitched up. So he's getting stitched up by the doctor, and this doctor, it's not like how they have now, they have like a whole medical crew and team on hand. It was just whoever was in the arena that night. And he's kind of stitching him up, and the doctor's saying, "Oh man, you really got you good with that sledgehammer, huh?" Doctor's thinking this is legit. And Undertaker is playing along with the doctor, like, "Yeah, you got me good, but I got him better. I've gotten better in the past, whatever." Going back and forth, but he's really like working this doctor, and he just looks over at me and Bob. My friend Bob was one of the guys, Bob Evans, and he just kind of looks at us. Doctor like looks away for a second. Taker like swings his head, looks at us, gives us a wink and like kind of like a half smile, and we're just like trying not to laugh because we're trying to keep up the work of the doctor. So it was just pretty funny, pretty cool. And like I said, yeah, just a cool.
We have to put up a link to that. We have to find it on YouTube and put up a link.
I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
We should find it.
I'll try and find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, the doctor thing is something that happened off camera. That was not something that was.
No, I know, but for the actual that part of the match.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't see us talking, obviously, but yeah, we're.
Obviously, I just want people to see that.
Yeah,
see what you're talking about in a sense.
But yeah, that was, and then the other thing, my good friend, my best friend for many years worked in WWE, and he always talked about just how Taker was the guy that you listened to. Everybody listened to him. You had a problem, you went to him. Anything, you would go to him. He was like the locker room leader. That's what they called him, and that's, I guess, what they still call him now. So yeah, he was just always a cool guy.
He seems like it.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, what you see is what you get. As far as I know, like I said, I'm not good friends with him or anything, not by any stretch. But yeah, just a really cool guy. So it was really cool seeing that side of him. And like I said, I was very surprised that he allowed it to happen.
What a good note to end the show on. Oh.
Oh, are we ending? Are we done?
Yeah.
So do you think he's done? You think he's all done?
Never say never.
Yeah, that's what I say too. I never say never.
Like, I want him to be happy and enjoy his life.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the underlying theme of the whole thing
like,
is this guy going to be able to leave and not be.
Part of me wants that to
anymore.
happen just for his own happiness.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. Is it cool seeing The Undertaker come back every year?
Oh, selfishly, yeah, of course. And just because he does it so well, and obviously the production value of WWE and everything, it's always so just top notch that yeah, you get lost in it, and it's exciting to see. But yeah, I hope for the guy's sake, just for his health and well being, and for his family too, that he's calling it quits. That's my hope for him anyway. But again, it doesn't matter what any of us want. It's you got to be okay with the decision to step away. So
it's all his choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'd rather have it be his choice than something happen where it can't be a choice anymore.
Right. Exactly. It's always good if you walk away on your own terms and you're not forced out. For sure. So yeah, that was that. The Undertaker, The Last Ride on WWE Network.
If you haven't watched it, it's so worth getting the network for.
It really is. Even if you're not like a wrestling fan, or if you were a wrestling fan and fell off.
But you like The Undertaker.
But you remember or like The Undertaker. Even if you didn't like The Undertaker, it's really you're gonna like The Undertaker by the time it's done. At least I think so, because it was just really well done. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Now, you got anything else you want to mention or talk about before we start closing out the show?
Let me think. We're recording this tonight. We're gonna watch Karen Montowski, last week's guest. She has a psychic stand-up comedy show airing tonight. It's like a live interactive thing, so we're staying up past our bedtime, so we'll be able to let everyone know how it was the following week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And go to her website and buy the reusable straws and get some Shungite stickers for your cell phone. Do yourself a favor and support a wonderful person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what about us? If people want to find or interact with us, where can they find us on social media?
Well, they can certainly find us on Twitter @Homewrecker Pod.
See, I messed it up
You
again.
screwed it up again. That's
Screwed it
okay.
again. 2 weeks in a row. Screwed it up.
We're shaking things up.
Good grief.
Instagram, Homewrecker Podcast.
We have a website too, don't we?
We do. Homewreckerpodcast.com.
Wow.
And buy a shirt if you can. Please support us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we appreciate that, of course.
And we're on iTunes, so you can subscribe, or anywhere you get a podcast, you listen to a podcast.
Yes. Please hit the subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating as well.
Please.
We appreciate that.
We do.
Those are starting to slowly climb up, so that's really cool to see. Thank you, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else?
You can watch us on Brighteon and YouTube.
Yes, you can.
So subscribe and like our videos on there, please.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So, now that I've completely screwed up the close of the show, until next time. I am. I had to think about it for a second. What am I? What am I doing? I'm totally off now. I screwed up the entire show. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion.
Sure about that?
Sure, as always. By my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, trying to throw me off, feisty, now just laughing uncontrollably, trophy wife.
I was wondering if you were gonna still say the nice stuff or throw anything else in there. I was curious.
I was trying to stay on target.
Okay. Well, we're off target anyway.
Trying to stay on message. What's another thing I can say here? I was trying to it's my trophy wife. I'm crying out loud. Monique.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker Podcast.